is due in a federal courtroom this morning after being arrested here in Los Angeles last night. The Department of Justice says it has revived a case that was rejected by a federal judge last week. It involves the disruption of a church service in Minneapolis by anti-ICE protesters that Lemon was covering as a journalist. KTLA's Omar Lewis, live in downtown LA with this breaking news. Omar, good morning.
Good morning, Frank. Yeah, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says she directed the arrest of independent journalist and former CNN anchor Don Lemon and 3 others. Lemon, as you mentioned, was arrested here in Los Angeles last night. Pam Bondi says that this is all in connection to what she calls a coordinated attack at that Minnesota church during the protest. Lemon now denying any wrongdoing, saying he was there in his capacity as a journalist. We are expecting to make his first federal court appearance here at the federal building later today. Want to take you to the video though and tell you that federal authorities arrested Lemon in LA last night. His attorney says while he was in town covering a Grammy Week event at the Fairmont Century Plaza. Federal officials say the charges stem from an incident on January 18th in which Lemon and dozens of anti-immigration enforcement protesters, they rushed into a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. The group allegedly interrupting the service there that led to tense confrontations. While it's not immediately clear what exact charges he is now facing, federal prosecutors have argued the disruption crossed the line into interfering with others' rights to worship. Lemon says he was there in his journalistic capacity documenting what was happening. The case is raising questions now about where the rights to protest end and press freedom begins.
Shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock and my
but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
The protest unfolding inside the city's church in St. Paul, where an ICE official also serves as a pastor there. Demonstrators chanting ICE out. Lemon and his attorney say he was there as a journalist reporting on the confrontation, speaking with people involved. Attorney General Pam Bondi publicly warning that the administration will not tolerate attacks on places of worship. Federal prosecutors originally sought warrants for 8 people, including Don Lemon, but a magistrate judge signed off on just 3 people, not including Lemon. An appeals court also refused to expand that. Now, prosecutors appear to have taken the case to a grand jury, and they've come back with charges against Don Lemon and a Minnesota-based journalist who was also there covering the protests. Want to read you this statement this morning from Don Lemon's attorneys. It reads in part, this unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crisis facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. This morning, we can also tell you that LA Mayor Karen Bass is posting about this.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today y'all, hold up. So yeah, it's not as steady as I like it, but listen to this. Just rock with me for a second. I'm only here to give y'all the straight facts, and then I'm out. I'm literally on the move as we speak. But I had to tap in and say this. With Dom Lenny getting arrested, there are layers to this, and he may have stepped into something serious by playing around with federal laws and going head up with ICE. I'm keeping this strictly factual right here. You're entitled to your own opinions. That part's on you. Now, one of the ICE agents involved, like y'all already saw, is actually the pastor of that church. Yeah, pause on that. You might feel the type of way about it, but once they entered that church, that's where it potentially crossed the line and triggered a federal law under the FACE Act. And I'm about to break that down. Freedom of access to clinic entrances. The FACE Act prohibits force, threats, or physical obstruction meant to injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone exercising their right to religious freedom at a place of worship. Under 18 U.S.C. 247, damage to religious property makes it a federal crime to intentionally obstruct by force or threat of force or even attempt to do so. That directly ties into a person's free exercise of religious belief. So you can keep the rest of that info right there on those bulletins, but I wanted to lay this out clearly so y'all can see exactly what this is. No spin. Yes, you do have a right to press. You do, Lennon, as a journalist. But here's the thing. He posted this himself on his own YouTube. You put it out there that you were with the people and that you went there alongside them. So from their perspective, that's probably how they're framing it. And I'm just going to take an educated guess here. When they say conspiracy, what they're really saying is you coordinated with them. They told you ahead of time they were heading to that church. They told you straight up they were about to break the law. And you still went in there with them, camera rolling, documenting the whole thing. At that point, you're not just observing, you're operating as the cameraman. That makes you part of it. That's probably how they're choosing to frame it right now. We don't even know the exact charges for sure yet. Maybe by the time this video drops, more details will be public, but as of right now, that's where this stands. They also approached another journalist. Let me put it to you like this, man. Listen closely. You'd better stay out of these people's way. Y'all can feel however y'all feel about ICE, but I'm going to tell you this plainly. I love my life. I'm not getting caught up in anything involving federal law, period. No. When it comes to situations like this, it's clear they are not playing around. They're protected. The state and the feds are fully aligned on the legal side of this. So when you hop in the car with folks doing this type of activity, protesting, pushing lines, you better stop and ask yourself, hold up, am I breaking any federal laws right now? And if the answer is yes, does freedom of the press override that? Maybe, but if they already told you they were planning to break federal law, then that changes things. They likely have conversations recorded, and you already know how that goes. He uploaded the video himself, so in a way, you kind of self-incriminated by showing you were fully involved. Then they'll probably start checking text messages, they'll talk to the other people involved, and they'll ask, was he part of this too? Was Dub Lenny involved as well? He used to work for CNN.
He's known. He's got a name. That makes the story bigger. And trust me, they'll use that to their advantage. So they'll ask again, did he know what was about to happen? And if the answer is yes, you already know where that leads. You know how that goes, bro. Now look, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We're just laying out the facts. But I'm gonna tell you this straight, bro. I'm not the type who wants to see people suffer or families get separated. But I'm also not about to put my life on the line for people who are actively breaking the law, especially when they broke the law just by choosing to come here the way they did. And I know for a fact there is not a single country on this planet where I could go and do exactly what's happening right now without consequences. It is what it is. I don't want to see anyone separated. I don't want to see anyone hurt or killed. But I also understand this. These are the laws, and nobody is rushing to protect my family if I break them. Subscribe to the channel.